Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of You Gotta Hear This. What episode are we on? Is this 5?
Number five.
Number 5, episode 5. As always, I'm joined by Mike Monzita.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me.
And Greg Urquhart.
Hi.
And Joe Boynton.
Hi.
I just want to go back before we go on. I remember last week, I controversially said at the top of the show that Last of Us was a B- video game. And since then, it has won 2020 Game of the Year. Just wanted to clarify
For the year.
for all the people who've sent me messages about that.
Have you gotten some angry responses?
Hundreds.
Wow.
That'll do it.
More than your controversial lyricist pick from last week?
Yeah, I got hundreds of messages, but in the other direction. Everybody's like, yeah, man, Anthony Kiedis. Way to go.
They backed your choice.
Yeah. No, that part's a joke. Nobody backed my choice. There's a lot of backlash about that. But I did get a lot of messages about whether or not I was being serious or not. And I was being very serious. I want to emphasize that.
I think you were just working the room.
No.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I mean, what Amanda said or was asking about it in the comments on one of ours, I forget, and I think we all theorized that you were just trying to see if you could make the argument and maybe also just kind of get a rise out of people.
No, not at all. I knew that going in. I knew everybody was going to think I was kidding, but I was very serious.
All right. Well, I feel like your pick was almost so over the top that I didn't even really see anybody bothering to argue about it. It was one of those.
Let's
that's
go
what he
and
thinks.
introduce everybody else. Sorry for jumping in there.
It's okay.
And what do we had? Seamus thought it was very funny that you did not know that Bob Dylan wrote.
Yeah.
I almost said November Rain, which that would be.
That would have been hilarious. Hilarious. Everybody knows November Rain was Janis Joplin. Everybody knows.
That Bob Dylan wrote Knocking on Heaven's Door. Seamus really, really enjoyed that, it seemed like. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. Tell you what, I watched a live stream today by the Gorillas.
Oh,
They did 3 this weekend. 2 yesterday and 1 today, all for different time zones. And man, I only watched the one, but it was great. The
Nice.
production was amazing.
The whole live stream.
What's that?
The whole live stream was Amy, pretty. It's from Congo. The talking girl. Thank you, Joe. That was. Sorry.
I was 13 when I watched that. I'm trying to remember.
Sorry.
Deep cut.
They opened the show with there's a song off their new one that they have with Robert Smith, and he was actually there. It was awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
They had a hologram of Beck. He was there.
Wait,
A
really?
hologram?
Like,
Yeah, it was wild. I'll have to show you guys later. It was something.
Where did they do it from? They do it from a venue or just like a studio or something?
They did it in their basement at the studio they have. And then Peter Hook was there playing bass from Joy Division.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is this something that anybody can do, or do you have to pay to get into this? It's like buy a ticket.
It was like $15 to watch it,
It's not bad.
worth it.
Not bad at all.
considering I haven't paid to go to any concerts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your concert budget is at $15 for the year.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Well, I did one for Hot Chip a while ago. That was really good.
Hot Chip. I just remember that name. I don't know anything about them.
I've never heard you. I think you and I have a long history of me claiming that you emphasize the wrong word in names. And I've always said hot chip. And you said hot chip.
Hot Chip.
Yeah. I've always said hot chip. And you really hit the hot.
Hot chip.
Bojangles.
Exactly. It's Bojangles. You're doing it wrong. You're 0 for 2.
Oh.
Instead of Noda, some of you guys go Noda.
Yeah. I think that one's my bad. I think I've been
Noda.
saying it wrong for years. But
Fancy it
if you're
up.
listening to this, leave a comment and let us know. Is it hot chip or hot chip? And if you're from the South, Let us know if it's Bojangles or Bojangles.
Bojangles.
Bojangles. Bojangles.
Oh.
WNBC. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Well,
Yeah. All right. Well, are we ready to start this week's topic?
mhm.
This week we're talking favorite cover song ever. Favorite cover song. And we're going to let Mike kick it off. So take it away, Mike.
All right, thank you so much. This is a lot of pressure going first. I was really confident about
Yeah.
volunteering to go first when we were off the air discussing, but now I'm really feeling the pressure. I like kind of having a lead in. But all right,
Not
so
easy.
consulting my notes, before I get into my favorite cover song, I want to talk about cover songs that I don't necessarily enjoy. And I think there's three tiers of cover songs. And these three tiers are, you can classify them as probably like horrible, and then better, and then best. And for horrible, I would say that the older I've gotten, I have really sort of leaned away from the ironic, and I have more of a penchant for the sincere. And I really, at this point, can't get down with ironic covers. And by that, I mean, I think the only person to ever do it right, or the only band to ever do it right, I really enjoyed when Dan Band, and I think they might have been the first to do it, did Total Eclipse of the Heart, and they would throw fucking in every now and then. And I think that was their only addition, but that was hilarious. That was hilarious. But I think ever since then, and this is before the prevalence of YouTube, and ever since then, there's been like, all right, I'll do a bluegrass version of Gin and Juice, or maybe we'll do like a heavy metal version of what's the Whitney Houston Bodyguard song? And I've always had
I Will Always Love You.
I will always love you.
Cover song, by the way.
Wait, is it really?
Yeah. Dolly Parton's the original performer.
Oh,
Mhm.
get out of town. Get
Yeah.
out of town.
That's beside the point, though. Sorry.
Sure. So I never really got into the ironic cover. I don't think it's funny as I think the people who are doing the cover think it is. And so that's never kind of been my thing. And then you've got sort of the second tier, which I would say is like 90% of all the other cover songs, which is just somebody doing a cover of somebody else's song. And I think that's awesome. I think that's great. I love to hear another band or another artist cover another artist's song and just put their own spin on it without trying to do anything gimmicky or anything spectacular, just presenting somebody else's song from their point of view. And I love that. I love that. But then I feel like there's a third tier, and it's like a god tier maybe. And this is where the cover eclipses the original. This is so rare. And I draw the equivalent to like when maybe a movie sequel eclipses the original, like Godfather 2 or The Matrix 2. And
No.
No.
And so I think this is the first show. Like I kind of said before, I got a lot of shit for saying that Anthony Kiedis was a good lyricist. And he's not my favorite, but I do like him. But this is the first show where I'm taking the route where I'm going best of all time. And I think this is probably the best cover song of all time. And I'm going Jimi Hendrix, All Along the Watchtower, which may be a controversial pick because I know you were a huge proponent of Bob Dylan last week. And I don't hate the Bob Dylan version. It's fantastic. But I think the Jimi Hendrix version of All Along the Watchtower is an entirely different experience that he took. And this is why it's my favorite, because he took it and he made it his own. And in doing so, it was something completely different than the original. It's a whole new experience. But to me, that experience isn't like his band called Are You Experience? Anyway, I thought that experience like eclipsed the original, which is something that's so hard to do. It's so hard to do. I very rarely see a cover song that does that. But I really feel like, and I'll open this up to discussion, but I might say that his version is more iconic than Bob Dylan's.
Yeah, definitely. I would say without a doubt. I actually was reading up, because that was one of the ones in the running, because I do feel like that is one of the ultimate versions of somebody taking a song and making it better and making it so much their own that it almost seems like a Jimi Hendrix song, much more so than a Bob Dylan song. And to the point that I read Bob Dylan talking about it, where he felt like he had to rethink the whole song after hearing Jimi Hendrix's version, and like he didn't perform it live for like a long time because of that, because he felt like Jimi Hendrix like took it to this whole nother level. And then when he did perform it, his version ended up being influenced by Jimi Hendrix's version of it. Like he couldn't perform it the same way anymore, basically, because of what Jimi Hendrix did with it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. But yeah, that was what got me into, because, I think everybody does this when they're in high school. They tried. I remember when I was in high school and I went back and I tried to get into the Beatles, and I tried to get into Bob Dylan and Jimi Hendrix and all the things that were popular, like when my dad was my age. And that was the one song that got me into Jimi Hendrix. So yeah, that's my pick. I know, excuse me. I was talking to a friend. Well, I don't want to say this in case any of you guys picked it, so I'm gonna hold off till the end about another cover song. But yeah, I'm going Jimi Hendrix, All Along the Watchtower. And coincidentally enough, say what you will about Dave Matthews Band, I'm not that big of a fan, but I think, Joe, I see you shaking your head as if you might agree with what I'm about to say.
I've heard a lot of Dave Matthews songs, okay? More than any of my friends. And I do believe that if you write 1,000 songs, you're going to have a few good ones. And I think he has that for me. I don't like him because of the way he delivers his vocal inflection on certain words and some of the silliness of the riffs that they choose. But lyrically, he's got some absolutely incredible lyrics that you hear once and you remember for the rest of your life. And I think he's written so much material that there are some really good songs by him.
Yeah, Dave Matthews is one of those, or we'll say Dave Matthews Band is one of those bands that have a lot, very similar to my Anthony Kiedis argument last week, is they have a lot of swing and misses, but every now and then they just crush it out of the park. But the whole reason I bring it up is because they do a fantastic version of All Along the Watchtower. So I don't know what you guys think of Dave Matthews Band, or whoever's listening to this, I don't know what you think of Dave Matthews Band, but if you have a chance to check out their version of All Along the Watchtower, it's amazing. Preferably the MTV Unplugged version. It's amazing.
That's what I was going to ask. I heard a live version of it a while back, and I think it was a regular concert, not the MTV one. And it was really good. Wasn't it like, the one I heard was like 12 minutes long?
It is. Yep, I was just going to say 12 minutes long. So you're probably talking about the same one. But it's amazing. And again, regardless of what you think of Dave Matthews Band, I think this song is an outlier. So definitely check it out. And maybe that's a testament to Bob Dylan that he wrote such a great song that so many bands were able to cover so effectively.
Can you send me that cover? Because I can't find it. I found 6 versions.
I have it pulled up on YouTube. Joe. I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
It's from Central Park.
Yeah, that's the one.
That might be the one that I heard, yeah. Yeah, I think that, well, and that's the thing too. It's like with All Along the Watchtower, and you hear Dave Matthews' version, no one's going to be comparing that to Bob Dylan's version. You're going to compare it to Jimi Hendrix because that's the one. Like, that's another one. I didn't even know. I didn't know it was a Bob Dylan song for the longest time. I hadn't even heard Bob Dylan's version until probably like 15 years after I heard Jimi Hendrix. It's like, I think, become that much of the definitive version of it. And even with the Guns N' Roses version of Knocking on Heaven's Door, I feel like they did make it their own to that point where it's probably more associated with them, at least in like popular culture.
Yeah, for sure.
I like the Guns N' Roses version of Knocking on Heaven's Door better than I like the Bob Dylan song. But then again, in
the Bob Dylan one's much more laid back, it's it's very, very different.
Gently rapping on Heaven's Door.
Rapping.
If you ever see like a really good movie that's based on a book, I feel like they have more time to focus on the performance of the song versus writing the song and then recording it.
Mhm.
So I think there's something to be said about that parallel. You know, if the song's already written, you have, you know the order of the song, or you kind of see the skeleton of it already. You're 100% confident in the song because it's someone else's song that you look up to, and then you're going to cover it. So that's also, something to think about too.
I think that might be the smartest thing that's ever been said on this podcast. Like, that's such a great point of view. It really is. Because if you're writing the song, you're putting something new out there. And if you're covering it, you're looking at it. You can analyze it. You can take as long as you want to write that cover or arrange that cover.
Or you could play it and make it your own over years. Like, there's no pressure for a cover. There's only pressure for, your own material, because that, like, makes or breaks how people feel about you currently. And with a cover, it's not. You can have any great band can have a bad cover and people won't really be like, oh, no, not for me. Sure.
Do you know what I was thinking about when I was taking notes for this episode? And you can edit this out if this is really stupid. But like, if I sing like Hit Me One More Time, then it's just me singing Hit Me One More Time. But if like Joe or John sings Hit Me One More Time, like, you guys are doing a cover of Hit Me One More Time. And that's like a thing that everybody wants to hear. Does that make sense? Like, cause
I don't know if everybody wants to hear it, but
no.
I'm not getting to listen to it if I covered that.
I don't know if that made sense, but it was just weird that like if you guys were to sing that song, that would be something like YouTube worthy or something awesome. Whereas like if I just sang YouTube,
if people that don't tour and don't put out records do a good enough of a cover, it's definitely YouTube worthy. People will listen to it. It will get a lot of views, and you can be completely out of left field and just drop something like a cover of a song and it'd be amazing, and people will latch onto it. The internet's a big place. So we're telling you to do it. You got to do it now. Now you got to cover that song.
Mm-hmm. Maybe in the director's commentary, maybe in the special features, maybe I'll do it, but not right now.
Such a tease.
Oh, no.
Seriously.
that was probably one of your least controversial takes yet, I would say.
I felt like I had to serious it up for this episode because I got a lot of shit for that Anthony Kiedis thing.
Yeah.
But it was from the heart. It was from the heart.
All right.
My turn?
Oh, yeah, you're up.
All right. So my song was also written by Bob Dylan.
Oh, no.
Then it was covered by the Quiet Beatle, George Harrison. And then it was covered again by Ben Gibbard from Death Cab for Cutie. We talked about this on the last episode, and I have to pick this as my favorite cover because I submitted it for Ben Gibbard's Live from Home sessions this year in March. And it was a benefit for a nonprofit called Country Doctor Community Health Centers. And he picked my submission. And I picked this song for a lot of reasons. I picked it for not hearing it for years, forgetting the song existed. And I was in the mountains in a cabin with my friends. And I was just, standing in the middle of the room, drinking tea, and kind of staring out the glass door out into the mountains and the trees and everything. And this song comes on, and it just hit me. It's like I was saying in the last episode, right place, right time. This song hit me, and I listened to this song too many times. I haven't killed it yet by over listening to it, but it's definitely getting up there in my rotation. So yeah, this song is the song. I heard it by George Harrison, and then submitted it, and it's called "If Not for You." And yeah, it was like right place, right time. Submitting it, hearing someone that I've been listening to since high school cover it, pick the song, like I said, learn it in a day, cover it on his live sessions, and make fun of my Instagram handle for how wordy it was. Joe B Transit Ma, correcting me because I submitted it as a George Harrison song because I'm a dumbass, even though it's a Bob Dylan song. And for those reasons, I picked it. Yeah, so the charity did it for was countrydoctor.org. I wanted to bring that up just because he submitted on that show. But yeah, they provide high quality, caring, culturally appropriate primary health care for their neighbors, regardless of their ability to pay. So you can check them out, countrydoctor.org. Let's see here. What are my other notes here? Oh, in all fairness, Ben,
Big fan of the show.
If you're listening.
If you Google the song, George Harrison's name comes up 3 times before Bob Dylan's name even comes up. It's even mentioned in the Google search. So George Harrison definitely made this song even bigger, I guess, than it was. It came out in the same year. Came out both.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think his version might have come out maybe before Bob Dylan put his version, or like almost at exactly the same time. Like,
I have the dates.
Okay.
Bob Dylan, it came out on New Morning, August 2nd, 1970. George Harrison on All Things Must Pass, November 27th, 1970.
okay, very close together.
Yep.
I have two. Oh, go ahead.
Nope, sorry.
I have 2 questions for you regarding that cover song. I forgot the first one, so I'm going to ask you just only the second one. I think the first one wasn't really so much a question, but just a comment. Like, how cool was that you just – so if I'm understanding the scenario, he just had a thing where you could submit a song that you would like him to cover.
Yep.
And, oh, that's awesome.
And
That's awesome.
And I'm sitting there with Amanda, and he's kind of, I think it's towards the end of the episode. It's on March 22nd. So if you want to watch it, watch that episode on YouTube from his live from home sessions. But so he just starts talking about, he goes, this song is by Joby Transit Ma.
I've seen it.
He goes, some of the song titles don't really roll off the tongue. Sorry. Some of the Twitter handle, the Instagram handles don't roll off the tongue or whatever. And I just remember looking at my wife like I became a complete fanboy. Christmas morning, I just got Sega Genesis or whatever, like just got that gift, Nintendo 64 or the Hulk Hogan tent that I had, like all those Christmas presents that you're like, oh my God, like. So it felt like that, even though it was in March. So it was my birthday present, I guess. But yeah, it just felt really cool that we had this interaction, kind of a one-way interaction with someone I've been listening to since, 2005 or 6. So that was really cool. It was really special, and it was really special that I found the song with friends in the mountains, and like it wasn't that long before, that. And I also picked it on purpose because I felt like it was a straightforward strumming song. So I knew if someone asked me to cover a song, I'm looking for songs I like, and I'm looking for songs that aren't heavy on the riffs that I have to learn. I can just find the chords and do it. So yeah. And
my second question was, I guess open it up to John. Do you guys ever listen to covers of your songs that people do on YouTube?
Occasionally.
Have you ever found one that you just thought was badass?
Yeah.
I guess you can't really say no. You can't say no.
They all suck. I've seen a few that, to me, it's usually the coolest when someone does something really different with it, where it doesn't even sound like our song. And I've seen a few of those. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to remember anyone's names and stuff, but there was one woman who, I think she did a few different Taking Back Sunday songs, and she did these like really like light like acoustic versions, and like she had a really different take on them, and she did more than one, and they were all really, really good. And there's been a couple like that, and then there's when someone does something that's kind of a little more just doing the same kind of sound as our song, like that. It's usually like, it's cool that people are doing it, but it's not as exciting to me to see, something similar. So, but it's always a really amazing thing to me. It's like very surreal. The first times, especially, where I saw people covering our songs. And that also reminds me, I found out a few years ago, there's a cover band on Long Island. It's called Faking Back Sunday.
No way. That's a great name.
Yes.
That's a great name.
amazing.
So that I haven't heard them, but the fact that we reached cover band status really felt like a milestone to me.
Yes.
Mhm.
That's amazing. Have you ever seen Faking Back Sunday?
No,
Okay.
I didn't find out about them till like a year and a half ago or so. So I never got a chance. But I really, if I'm ever on Long Island when they're playing, it would be really fun to me to go check that out. I will definitely do it.
Great. I'm looking at the page right now.
Oh, are you checking out Faking?
It's like Chris Jericho. I don't know if you're familiar with the popular wrestler. Chris
Fozzy.
Jericho.
Yeah.
He's in a band called Fozzy. But do you know why the band is called Fozzy?
No.
Because
Were
when
they an Ozzy Osbourne cover band?
they were, and it's fake Ozzy. Fozzy.
That's
Yeah, I thought that was very clever. And I guess it just kind of stuck.
I just always go to the Muppets immediately when I hear Fox.
Yeah.
Fuzzy. What was I saying? But yeah, so lyrics are great. Lion, that's my favorite song. Lyric, that's my favorite on the song is, he says, if not for you, winter would hold no spring. You couldn't hear a robin sing. I just wouldn't have a clue. Anyway, it wouldn't ring true if not for you. So again, similar to the Weaker Thans, like you can just read it off the page and it's just raw poetry, perfectly written in my opinion, and probably the line that hit me that made me fall in love with the song. Mike, I almost picked, I picked, instead of best cover of all time, I know we could pick between, that one or the other, but I picked my favorite. So this is my favorite cover, but the best cover of all time, in my opinion, is Jimi Hendrix, All Along the Watchtower. That was my number one. So I completely agree with you. Number two is Johnny Cash covering Nine Inch Nails, the song Hurt. And then my favorites that didn't make the cut that I wrote a bunch of notes for and then didn't pick them was the Bangles covering Big Star, September Girls, and Bouncing Souls covering Avoid One Thing, their song Lean on Sheena. Was my favorite Bouncing Souls song until I realized it's not their song, it's a cover song.
I didn't know that was a cover. I'm just finding that out now.
Yep, they're Avoid One Thing.
What was the Bengals one that you said? I want to check that out.
September Girls.
September
Girls is the name of the song, and it's girls with a Gurls by Big Star, who's, if anyone listening doesn't know who Big Star is, they're an incredible band, very influential. They are the ones that wrote the theme. They wrote the song that became the theme song to that 70s show, which in my opinion is the best sitcom of all time. That's my favorite one. Before it gets the end and it gets really bad and they start kicking people off the show and people leave. Yeah, they do the theme song. They're the ones that Alex Chilton wrote the theme song to that. And so Mike Baby, I agree with you with best. Didn't pick it to talk about it, picked favorite because it was a song I submitted and it got picked and it blew my mind that it got picked. So I had to go with that. But yeah, that's all I got.
When you said September Girls, you reminded me of those Facebook ads that you would see a couple years ago for t-shirts that would say, never trust a girl who enjoys Slipknot, who drives a Harley and lives in Wyoming, that was born in September. And then in parentheses, and yes, my boyfriend brought me this shirt and sometimes he hits me.
Oh, God. That's a very
You know what I'm talking about? You've seen those.
I know
on Facebook ever. I haven't seen this.
Anyway, I was sorry. I was gonna mention. That was really funny. I was gonna mention Johnny Cash Hurt when I was talking about mine. That was my number 2 pick. But I like the original version so much more. I get why a lot of people gravitate towards the Johnny Cash version, but I love the original version so much more. That's a tough one. I feel like those are.
That's a good example of Johnny Cash just putting his spin on it, as John was saying earlier. That he changed it up enough to be his own.
Yeah.
Imagine writing a song and being like, maybe people will like this, and then it blows up, and then Johnny Cash fucking covers it. Like, you're good. Your bucket list checked. You're done as a musician. You're good. That's nuts.
That had to be kind of a shock. Like, as much success as Trent Reznor had at that point, that still's got to be a level where you just like can't believe that you're getting the call from Johnny Cash to like cover one of your songs. I don't know if he got a call. He probably didn't get a call about it. Whenever he found out about it.
Tell him at all. I bet it's probably one of the highlights of his entire music career. I'd be
Gotta be
surprised if
something,
it wasn't.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
Yeah, man. All right, Greg, what do you got?
All right. I'm going to do Bob Dylan covering Knocking on Heaven's Door by Guns N' Roses. I've been waiting all week to tell that joke.
Worth it.
It was worth it for sure.
Super worth it. I went back and forth with a few. One of mine was a cover of a Harry Nilsson song, Jump Into the Fire. LCD Sound System does it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's
It's
They
right.
do a
phenomenal.
cover of that song?
Yeah,
Holy shit.
it's pretty wild. And they only did it live. They never really released like a studio type version, which is pretty
Did
cool.
it end up on a live album at least, or any like a?
It was on a
proper-
live album, yes. It's out there. You can find it.
Oh, man, that's a great pick.
It is. And then more recently, this one just came out a couple weeks ago, is Willie Nelson and Karen O during Under Pressure,
Oh,
which is Karen O's from the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. I love them. I love her. She's great. That cover is really, really good. But my main pick is also one of my, I tried to do it based off of like my favorite songs, if anyone's covered them. So I tried to go that route. So I went through a bunch of my favorite songs, and not many people cover them, but Blood Bank is one of my top 10 songs by Bon Iver. And Third Eye Blind does a really fantastic cover of it.
really?
They started doing like live cover of it in like 2012 and would just pop it on tour and stuff. But then I think in 2018 they did a cover album, like an EP called Thanks for Everything. It's pretty much like a tribute album to the people that they were inspired by. And that song was on there. So there's actually a studio version too, I believe, which is awesome. But their version's much more like ghosty, kind of spooky a little bit more than Bon Iver's, which is pretty good. Yeah, their whole, I think, let me see, it's only 7 songs on that little EP, but they cover Queens of the Stone Age, a Tim Buckley song, Santa Gold, some others that I've never heard of. But yeah, the Blood Bank one is awesome.
Have to check that out.
Third
Yeah.
Eye Blind. Wow. All right.
All Stephen Jenkins.
One
Is
of the
that
songs is "Fuck Forever."
What's that?
Whose original is the song "Fuck Forever"? That's the second track on that cover.
Oh, yeah. It should be in the parentheses probably, but yeah, it's good. I haven't heard it live.
Senior quote in my high school yearbook is what that is.
Yeah.
Fuck forever.
Gotta figure out what this is. That's great.
I had a friend. Just a quick story about senior quotes. I had a friend, I'm not going to say his name, but his senior quote in the yearbook was, "Don't worry about me. I'm going to be where the women and money is at." Thought that was a very profound.
Is that from something, or did he just?
No. That's from the twisted mind of this guy.
What about the editor of the yearbook? That's just like, great. That's great.
Awesome.
Put it in. Perfect.
A+. No notes. I've got no notes.
It's by the band Baby Shambles.
Oh, that's the guy from the Libertines. Pete Doherty, I think his name is.
Oh yeah.
I just know the name Baby Shambles. I don't know anything else about it.
Wait, no, is Pete Doherty the guy from Soul Coughing as well?
No, his last name is Doherty though.
Okay.
But I can't remember his first name.
Yeah, I
Peter.
saw Soul Coughing once in concert.
Oh yeah?
How was that? I kind of like that guy or them.
It was my first big New York City concert when I lived on Long Island. I think I was in 11th grade. We went in to me and Eric. We went in to go see and Brendan. He's
Oh,
a
I
big
love it.
fan of this podcast. So hello, Brendan.
Hey, Brendan.
Let's see who opened. Black Eyed Peas opened
Wow.
before they had Fergie.
Right, but when they were still kind of like cool.
Yeah,
man.
yeah, and then Soul Coughing, and then Everclear.
Oh wow.
Oh.
And it was at I'm pretty sure it was at Roseland Ballroom.
Yeah, that sounds like a Roseland show. That era.
But I just remember it was like dead of winter. It was like Everclear's Soulcore tour or something like that. And it was we left it. It was a blizzard. Ironically. Yeah, Soul Coughing. That was a wild show.
Nice.
A lot of visuals on the screen.
I was a big fan of them for a while back in that
Yeah,
time.
me too.
Into high
They had
school.
For
Shortly
that
after.
song, was it "Let the Man Go Through," whatever it was? Or
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait,
yeah,
so have you said your favorite though? You mentioned a few. Are
my
you,
favorite's the Third Eye Blind Blood Bank.
that is the favorite. Okay, that's
Yeah.
the number one. All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll stick with that for a while.
Interesting.
That is an interesting. I'm excited to listen to that.
And Blood Bank's just a great song, and if you've never heard it, which I'm sure you've all heard it,
Yeah.
if you Google, if you YouTube the Bon Iver at Austin City Limits, he plays it there, and it's the greatest performance of that song for Bon Iver.
Oh.
It's really, really awesome. They just like unleash at the end with all these guitars and start jamming.
I saw that was on there was a point where that was on like all the American Airlines flights or something.
Yeah.
Didn't he have like 12 people on stage or something for that, right? And there was like all
Yep.
kinds of stuff going on. It was really good, but it was like crazy how much he had going on that stage, and like how many people and how many instruments, and I think people were like switching instruments from song
Oh,
to
yeah.
song and stuff. It was crazy.
And even more recently, we Nicole and I had to drive down to South Charlotte the other day, but I put on the new Miley Cyrus record. It's like a rock and roll album, and she's got a couple covers at the end of that, they're really not bad. She covers "Zombie" by the Cranberries.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I heard her doing the whole song a little while ago, Doll Parts.
Yeah, man, that was a whiff. I thought that one.
You weren't into it?
Yeah, and then she did "Say Hello to Heaven." I heard that was a 5 out of 10 as well. I don't know, man, but
If anyone's gonna do "Zombie," it would be her because she's got the voice for that.
Yeah.
That would actually. It worked.
Not a fan over here.
she seems like she's just playing around. None of those songs did anything for me. Although, gosh, do I want to go all in on this?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't hate her "Every Rose Has Its Thorn." I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I feel like the other three that we've mentioned, "Say Hello to Heaven," "Zombie," and "Doll Parts," are all her trying to be those singers. I feel like she kind of took "Every Rose Has Its Thorn" and made it her own, which I kind of respect. But
She does a good version of "Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds."
Did she do that with
are you
Wayne?
serious or no?
Yeah, she did it with Wayne Coyne.
Yeah, that goes a long way to making that work, I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that was a weird phase for her.
Yeah, that
More
was
so
a
for
collaboration.
more so for him. More so for him because I think she just like lived with him for like 6 months.
Oh wow.
It was weird.
Yeah. I don't think anyone saw that coming, that collaboration. That was a while back. It was probably like 4 or 5 years ago or something. It was just like
Yeah, give
all
or
of a
take.
sudden Miley Cyrus and Wayne Coyne are just collaborating on music all the time.
Hmm.
And it ended as suddenly as it began.
As it should.
Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, to me, it's kind of interesting though. Whenever somebody like Miley Cyrus goes that route, because like when you're that famous and have that much success, you can do whatever you want. And I mean, to me, it's always fun when someone decides to do something weird instead of doing something to make themselves more popular and successful. So I mean, I got to give her points for that.
I've lived my whole life based on that theory.
Yeah.
Look where it's got me.
Yeah, I mean,
Nice.
none of us would be here doing this podcast without that mentality.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right,
You're up, John.
I'm up. All right. Well, I had a few songs that I was considering and listening back to and thinking about. None of them were really. They were all, I think, songs that would be in the what most people would think of as some of the best cover songs ever. I didn't really have any wild ideas. I ended up going with Jeff Buckley's version of "Hallelujah" by Leonard Cohen.
Oh wow.
And that, to me, like what Mike was talking about, that that tier where you bring a song up to another level by covering it. I think to me it had to be that no matter what, because you know, the percentage of songs that have like truly done that are pretty small, and I think that that's really, if we're talking about the best cover song, you know, it has to do that. That's like the, you know, rule number one. And this one I think is one of the best examples of that. And if you listen to the Leonard Cohen version of Hallelujah, which is the original version, it's kind of underwhelming in a certain way. The production is kind of weird. It's got a little bit of an 80s thing going on. And you know, his style of singing is, I really like it, but it's very like monotone. He gets into almost kind of like talking his lyrics a lot and not singing very melodically, and like that's kind of his thing. And it's really good, obviously. It's still a great song, but when you listen to Jeff Buckley do it, it's like it's a moving and very emotional experience in a way the Leonard Cohen version is not. And so apparently, though, I found out that Leonard Cohen kept doing the song live and continued to keep like basically working on the song even after he had released it on an album. And he would sing different verses at different times and add verses, take verses out, and mess with the arrangement. So for him, I guess it was like his ongoing thing. And he had like supposedly like 70 verses that he had written for the song, and you know, never really stopped changing it up. And so I think that kind of added to the legend of the song a little bit. And then this is something I found out is there's a guy from the Velvet Underground, John Cale, who saw Leonard Cohen play that song live and was like, oh, that would be a good song to cover. He ended up getting a chance to do a Leonard Cohen tribute album. He wanted to cover that song, but this is like 1990. He didn't know what the words were. And so this is pre-internet. And I mean, he probably could have just gone out and bought the CD and looked at the liner notes maybe. But I guess he was in a position to contact Leonard Cohen's people. And he did. And it's like, I'm doing a cover. If he could send me the lyrics to the song, that would be awesome. Which is a hell of a thing, you know, like now anybody covering a song would probably just take their phone out and be like, let's see what the words are. So he gets faxes from Leonard Cohen with like 20 different verses to the song that aren't in the recording. And basically like, he's like, you know, pick whatever verses you want. So he picks a bunch of verses for his cover that Leonard Cohen didn't put in his recording. He releases that. Jeff Buckley, a few years later, hears this guy's cover of Leonard Cohen's cover, and that's what like moves him to want to cover the song. And he does it with the words from this other cover, which incidentally I think are much better than the ones that Leonard Cohen chose for his original. Wow. So by this whole process, you end up with Jeff Buckley doing this really like superior version of the song. And I mean, I love that too, just like that story of it getting there. But then a lot of it has to do also with Jeff Buckley's performance of it. I mean, it's just him on an electric guitar and his vocal, and there's nothing else. And it's really amazing, like what he does with just that. And his vocal delivery, and his interpretation of it, and just everything his whole approach to it just brings it to a whole nother level. And I was listening to it today, and it really like, I've heard it a bunch of times, and it still kind of like got me like choked up a little bit. There's like just something about it. And so all that to say that's my choice, and I feel good about it.
That's crazy. It's like that cover is like, that's like the cover version of hot potato, but someone's gonna make mashed potato.
Well, I say potato.
Potato, hot potato. So you,
Let's go the
you
whole-
basically the song is being built by different musicians over like a long period of time before it becomes, in essence, like what it would be, and that's amazing.
Yeah, it was almost like it made it. It's like was fully realized when it got to Jeff Buckley or something. Like he was like the last person in the line of three people to kind of take it from where it started to where it needed to go or something.
It's crazy.
Which is
That was
crazy.
a really interesting story. I was into that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And so now the thing is too, it's also become pretty like well-known song.
Yeah.
I think that the Shrek movie, oddly
Oh
enough,
no!
is what took it over the edge. I don't know if you remember the first Shrek movie. There's a big scene where they feature the song, and it's not Jeff Buckley's version. It's I think maybe the one that he heard, the other guy who covered it in Shrek. But that pretty much took the song to like the realm of like public, consciousness, and then after that it kept getting covered by other people, and really when Leonard Cohen put it out, it was just like one song on an album that really didn't do very well, that the label didn't like, and like was not it really took like 20 years almost for it to become widely known and loved. So that's really something too.
Does Leonard Cohen get anything out of that residually, or does he? Is it just like he does, or is this a one-time fee where he says, "All right, if you pay me this much, you can cover this song," and then that's
No, I think usually it's a percentage goes to the writer, and it would also probably depend on like his publishing deal, which is another thing. But anytime someone covers your song, you get so a certain percentage just automatically goes to the writer of like the sales. So I mean, I'm sure he saw quite a bit from all the people covering it, especially since that was still in the 90s and when people were buying albums. So
oh wow,
you probably got to see some money for it.
So similar to Trent Reznor, probably one of his musical like highlights of his career is having, having someone that big like cover his song. Do you think he had the same moment, like seeing this green ogre, this like pixelated, like animated 3D ogre covering his song? He's like, "It did it, guys! It did it. That's
Wait,
it."
did Shrek sing the song in the
I
movie?
don't know.
No, he didn't, unfortunately.
Okay. All right.
It's like, that's it, made it.
Yeah, I think that's when Leonard Cohen knew. He was probably like 74 at that point or something, and was like, "Yep, my life has been worth it."
Someone probably showed him it, and he's probably like, "What the shit? What is that? Don't bother me."
Yeah, I could see that.
Who the hell signed off on this?
Yeah.
Well, how about after all that Bob Dylan chat last week, he went around the next day and just sold his entire music catalog.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's right. Who did he sell it to?
Did somebody buy it?
I think
Elon Musk?
I don't know who he sold it to. Universal or Sony or something.
Some giant music.
Someone that had $300 million.
Oh. It's probably Disney, and then they can put it in all their Star Wars movies. You can put it in The Mandalorian. We can hear knocking on heaven's door when Boba Fett comes out. Spoilers.
It would probably go to Westworld.
Yeah, Westworld.
Yeah. Disney has like 10 different Star Wars spin-offs coming out now, right?
Not enough.
Got a bunch of
Not
stuff.
enough.
I'm loving it. I don't know how I'm gonna have time to do anything else. I'm really excited. I've watched all of Mandalorian, and I've seen a lot of the episodes 2 or 3 times, and I love it.
This is why I don't think I can ever watch anything, because I'm so far behind now.
It's getting worse. They're just shoveling the dirt on.
You know, though, Greg, without watching any of the other Star Wars movies, I think you could watch The Mandalorian and it doesn't matter. I don't think you need to know. There's probably just some references that you wouldn't get, but as far as following the story and enjoying it, I feel like you could jump if you ever wanted to jump into a Star Wars related feature. That might be the one.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. No pressure. No
What do
pressure.
What do you guys think about the Bryan Adams cover of the Taylor Swift album?
You mean Ryan Adams?
Ryan Adams.
No, I'm talking about the Bryan Adams
Did
version.
Bryan Adams do it also?
No, he covered the Ryan Adams version, which was some real Inception shit.
Yeah.
No, sorry, the
I don't
Bryan
hate it. The album 1989. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's I don't mind it.
I can't decide if I think it might be a little too gimmicky, but I also like it. So my whole principle, my whole life's philosophy is I don't like irony, but in this case, I really like that album.
So I think he got some shit for doing it like a stunt or like ironically, but I think he was doing it just because he really liked those songs and wanted to like do his own take on it. I think it was a genuine thing, but it's hard to judge, you know.
It's really good. Do you know how every now and then you'll get a song stuck in your head and you'll just start singing it? And I do this with you all the time. Like every now and then I'll get a Stray Light Run song just stuck in my head, and we'll be hanging out, and then I'll start to sing it, and I'm like, no, I'm not fucking with you. I just have the song stuck in my head. But every now and then I will get one of Ryan Adams's Taylor Swift songs stuck in my head, and I'll just subconsciously start singing it out loud. And then I always have to clarify to everybody that I'm sitting with. I'm like, no, this is the Ryan Adams version that I'm singing. This is not the Taylor Swift version. I think it's really important for me that they know. Although there's a lot of songs on that Taylor Swift album, 1989, that I genuinely, truly like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift is kind of crossing into territory of like she's becoming like genuinely acceptable to be into at this point. And she's had that album with the guys from the National and
Wow,
Bon Iver, and like she's like getting all this indie cred now. It's crazy.
She just covers all territory. Like she's just got a map of music, and she's just like, now here. Because I think she's a personality type that's just like, if I'm not chasing excitement, I'm bored. So she's constantly chasing what's going to make her feel like it's her first time recording, her first time, in the studio. So that's great.
I had a day from hell the other day, as Mike just mentioned, having a song stuck in your head. I had that Walking in Memphis song. Oh my God, that is just torture.
That's your hell song now?
Yeah.
Well,
I went walking in Memphis.
Do you like the song? And
no, I don't know why it popped in my head. It just did, and then I was very upset the whole day.
I every time I go to Memphis, that's a thing for me, which is very basic of me. It's like, I'm in Memphis, I'm gonna think about this song, but it really does happen.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you who sings it or why it was in my head, but man.
Yeah, I forget his name.
So sometimes when I'm making scrambled eggs in the morning, I start singing Yesterday by the Beatles, because the lyrics were originally scrambled eggs. And like that's how they wrote the melody, he was making eggs. So I do that sometimes. But don't feel bad. When we were packing, because we're packing to move, and while we were packing this morning, everything in the kitchen, I had a Buck Cherry song stuck in my head. It was awful. It was because of the Song in Hell episode. So it could have been a worse day for you, because that was my day. That's how mine started.
Wait, so what was the comment? You got at the guy who comment on your post that was like ironically getting into Buck Cherry? Was that what it was?
Oh, that was amazing. He really took us on a journey with that comment.
What a saint. What an absolute saint.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was very funny. And then, like, he took it so far that he went to see them in concert.
Yeah, no, it was something like.
Can we have him as a guest on this episode?
I would
want to paraphrase. I don't want to paraphrase.
You, a freaking saint.
It was something like he proposed to his wife unironically using Buck Cherry lyrics, but then it got to be such an inside joke that they
ended up becoming fans.
Yeah, that they went to go see them in Vegas. I don't know. I don't remember, but it was something.
Play it at a bar 3 times in a row and just watch people react to figure out who's cool in the room and who's not. And then he covered it, open mic. I think like just no music, just covering it, just singing it.
Okay.
He did spoken word poetry. That's what he did. And then they actually went to see him, and it was like a joke. Like his wife or girlfriend at the time, like girlfriend is like, hey, bought you tickets to see Buck Cherry. Yeah, I vote if we ever have a guest on this show, I'm just gonna invite him just to tell us. We just want the details.
I'd like to hear his story. Yeah.
We just want your story. So we should have an episode that is just a story, a funny story related to a song, and that's it.
Well, I think we were talking about our next episode being all Buck Cherry, all of our favorite Buck Cherry songs. So maybe we can have him on for that.
Are they that Crazy Bitch song? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They also,
music video.
they also had the I Love the Cocaine song, right?
Oh, jeez.
Wasn't that them?
How does that
I love the cocaine. I love the cocaine.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah. It was a hit.
Can't argue them. It's like, okay, you do. You love cocaine? Great. Sure.
Yeah,
I
I
gotta
don't
fight
think the
you.
song was
I
called
gotta fight
that.
you on that.
Right what you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so next week we're gonna do holiday songs.
Yeah. So what is it? Is it favorite holiday?
I like saddest holiday song.
Oh, mama.
Saddest?
Yeah,
Oh.
there's a couple.
Where do I find this?
Mama got ran over by a reindeer. Done.
Done.
The Christmas shoes song is pretty bad, but no, we could do like favorite Christmas song or
What if we did like rock bands or bands that aren't like I'm assuming that's what you're leaning towards, like not traditional. Like if Guns N'
Original.
Roses
maybe like original Christmas songs.
Yeah. Like if Guns N' Roses, like or if Skid Row did a holiday song.
I'm gonna pick an awesomely bad Christmas song. I think that
Okay.
would be awesomely bad Christmas song. Would probably be the direction I'd go in.
Yeah,
You say like for as the topic, awesomely bad is
That would be
mine.
mine. Either whatever we pick, that's what I'm probably gonna pick.
whatever the topic's gonna be, I already know what my song is.
Yeah,
so-
me too. I think we should all just come in with Christmas songs that we I already know what my song is gonna be, regardless of what we decide the topic's gonna be.
Like if Randy Savage has a Christmas song, done. Like if I can just find one like that, it's probably gonna be my pick. Just letting everyone know.
Let me tell you something, Santa. Oh yeah. Coming down the chimney.
Christmas
tree.
Oh yeah. Step
And
into
we might
the spirit.
we might have a special guest next week if he decides to grace us with his presence.
We'll see.
Nice.
Santa Claus?
All of your friends in Charlotte want you on the podcast.
All right.
So
Probably
Santa
not
Claus.
watching because he's too mad at us. So we'll have to talk to him again in real life or on the text. But you know what? That just reminded me though. Just we really one time should do something with like because there was a lot of wrestlers who put out music in the
Oh, you get me so fired up. If we do a wrestler, if we do favorite song written by a wrestler in like a studio, not a theme song, but if we do that, please. I
Oh
would love
man,
that.
I'm totally down.
That's an amazing idea.
The one after the Christmas one.
Mhm.
Yeah, maybe in the new year.
That's an amazing idea. Although I think Chris Jericho, a lot of his songs I really enjoy. I don't know if that's a
Hulk
That's
Hogan,
it.
the wrestling boot band. That's the first song. I'm going right to that
Yeah,
first. Front to
I'm gonna
back.
save it. Let's save it. We got to
Yeah.
do that. So,
All right, we got something going now. We got something cooking. All right.
Much like
Yes,
The
sir.
Rock.
Yeah, I was about to say something about The Rock, and then you beat me to it.
He did a song with Wyclef Jean. I don't know if you remember
The
that.
Rock did?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah. And
And the music industry kept going after that.
yeah, surprisingly, everyone didn't decide, well, there we've just reached the peak of music and then stop. Yeah, there's
All right.
a song was called It Doesn't Matter. Look it up.
More than that.
Cool. I'm gonna listen to everyone's songs.
Yeah, we got a lot,
Good
lots of
stuff,
check
man. I'm gonna listen to all of these.
The Third Eye Blind, especially. I had no idea.
That's what
I
I
have
do.
to
I bring weird stuff to the table that no
Yeah.
one's heard of.
It's lovely.
All right. We will. I guess we can end on that.
Till next time.
Clear eyes, full hearts can't lose.
That's the bottom line.